policeman smoothed out the small piece of paper he'd produced from his pocket and laid it down on the table. "Why would he have your address on this piece of paper, Richard?" Richard sat opposite, his mum next to him. The boy shrugged. "I don't know." "Well, you need to think. You've been very honest about everything else." Richard knew he'd been honest. He didn't need reminding of the fact. He hadn't left anything out about the evening he and Eddie played football on the beach. Not even the part where he'd run, leaving Eddie to his fate. "You were mates?" asked the second, smaller, wiry-looking policeman, a thick thatch of ginger hair sprouting haphazardly from his head. "Yes, but we hadn't known one another long. He'd only started school a few days before." "No, I meant Stanmore." "Stanmore?" Richard laughed at that. "You must be joking. He was no friend of mine. I hate him." A stunned silence settled over the room. Richard swallowed hard. He hadn't meant his outburst to sound the way it had, and now everyone stared, eyes cold, judgmental, even his mum. Richard turned away. This wasn't going well. The ginger policeman twisted his lips as if there was something distasteful in his mouth. "You say you last saw him as you left the beach that night?" "Yes." "And you didn't think it strange that he didn't turn up for school the following day?" "To be honest, I couldn't care less." Again that silence. Richard threw out his hands imploringly. "Look, he'd come over to us, started bullying us. I ran away and that was it. I was more concerned about Eddie." "But not Stanmore." "Why should I be?" "Yes, you said." The ginger-haired man gave his colleague a glance. He grunted, slapped his notebook shut, and stood up. Mum was holding Richard's hand. He was shaking. "I'm not sure your line of questioning is entirely appropriate," she said. The first policeman frowned. "Really, madam? May I remind you that this is a murder investigation?" "And may I remind you that my son is only 13 years of age?" "Nevertheless." "How did this Stanmore boy die?" The policeman exchanged looks. It was the ginger one who spoke up. "We can't really divulge that sort of information, madam." "It'll be in the papers soon enough." Richard's dad, who had been hovering over by the door, now stepped forward. He looked angry.